Hey y'all, this morning I want to talk to y'all for a few minutes about unlocking the real you, learning to shift your perspective from being run by your thoughts into actually observing them. You know, as long as I can remember, I always assumed that the person that was doing the thinking inside my head was the real me. My thoughts were who I was. They were my identity. The voice in my head, that constant stream of commentary, of judgments, of worries, of stories, was how I understood who I was. It was like I was always living in a movie, and my thoughts were the script that I was following over and over again, many times on repeat. But when I began practicing mindfulness breathing and using self-hypnosis techniques on myself, I really began to observe those thoughts instead of being run by them. And what happened was amazing. It was a realization that I wasn't the thought that was running through my mind, that I was the observer of that thought. And that gave me pause for a moment. I mean, think about it. That shift in awareness from being fully immersed in that constant chatter of my mind and stepping back to observe it. It was liberating. It was freeing to be able to do that. It changed the way I saw myself, and it changed how I interacted with others around me. This thinking mind, the one that felt like me, it wasn't the real me at all. It was just a collection of stories and beliefs and experiences that I had gathered and collected over time. And these thoughts were not inherently true or inherently false. They weren't necessarily reflective of who I really was. And so by practicing the mindfulness breathing and the self-hypnosis techniques, they both played this huge role in shifting this reality of who I was. With mindfulness, I started to see that my thoughts were temporary. They're impermanent. They don't last. They're just like clouds passing through the sky. It wasn't my thoughts. It was the awareness that I could notice those thoughts, if that makes sense. And then the self-hypnosis that I teach most of my clients and I use on myself. A lot of people ask me, do you use this stuff yourself? Yes, every day. And the self-hypnosis, it allowed me to communicate with that unconscious mind, with my unconscious mind, where those deeper patterns of belief are stored, that the techniques that I use, the progressive muscle relaxation, the visualization, I learned to bypass that critical faculty and connect with that unconscious part of me, that part that was calm and grounded, that part that's free from all of that constant mental chatter that's going on. And over time, I began to notice how much of my life had been governed by these automatic thoughts and these conditioned responses that were based on all of these past experiences rather than the authentic present version of me, the real me, the one that exists beyond thoughts and beliefs. Was much more quieter. It was more centered. And I had the ability to choose how to respond to those things going on around me rather than just reacting based on those old habit patterns. And I realized that this deeper version of myself had the power to rewrite my story, to break free from some of those limiting beliefs and to live with more intention and more power. One of the key things that I've learned on this journey with working with myself and helping others is that there is a big difference between being identified with your thoughts and being the observer of your thoughts. And a lot of clients that come to see me have never paid attention to those thoughts. They've just allowed those thoughts to run, to play out, and they just react to them. So a big difference is learning how to observe those thoughts. Before practicing mindfulness and self-hypnosis, I was entirely identified with my thoughts. If I had a negative thought about myself, I assumed it was true. If I worried about the future or doubted myself, I believed those thoughts were a reality. But when I stopped and began to really pay attention to them, to observe those thoughts, I saw them for what they are. They're just passing mental events that didn't define who I was as a person. It's not that our thoughts don't matter. They're important. Thoughts can be powerful. They shape our beliefs. They influence our emotions. They impact our actions. But when we're caught in these thoughts, and we become trapped in this cycle, then our thoughts drive us rather than us directing them. So with the techniques in self-hypnosis, I learned how to access and relax. I learned how to focus myself to where I could not only observe my thoughts, but I could change them. I could reshape them. I could see them from a different perspective. I could challenge those old limiting beliefs that had taken root in my subconscious mind over years and years of conditioning. And through this focused suggestion and imagery and visualization, I could reprogram my thinking. And I could learn to replace that self-doubt with true confidence. I could learn to replace fear with courage. I could learn to replace stagnation with action. And this ability to observe my thoughts and then change them empowered me. It gave me an opportunity to break free from old patterns. It stopped letting these thoughts run the show. Instead of reacting with fear or anxiety, I began to respond with calm clarity, knowing that I was not defined by whatever thoughts happened to be passing through my mind at any given moment. And this freedom that I gained from detaching from my thoughts was when I realized that I was not my thoughts. And I felt that freedom. It was like a weight of the world had been lifted off of my shoulders. I was no longer at the mercy of my own mental chatter. Instead of identifying with every thought, I could choose which thoughts to engage with and which ones to let go of. Those thoughts that I didn't need, that weren't useful, that weren't necessary for my growth and progress. And this freedom, it didn't change just how I thought about myself. It also shifted how I interacted with the world around me. I noticed that I was less reactive in my relationships. I could listen without judgment, without immediately jumping into my own story or thinking about how I was being perceived, how they saw me. I became more present, more open, more compassionate toward others and myself. And instead of being swept away by that constant stream of thoughts about the past, worries about the future, judgments about myself, I could simply observe them and watch as they came and went. I could choose to respond from a place of awareness and not from a place of constant reaction. And this allowed me to use these tools for transformation. You know, I've seen firsthand the effects that these techniques can be used for in helping myself and helping others. Over the past 5 years here in this office, I've helped hundreds of people learn how to make profound changes in their life by guiding them, teaching them how to relax, getting a connection with that unconscious mind where those core beliefs and patterns live. And once we're in there, we can work together to change those negative thoughts, those patterns, reframe those limiting beliefs, and activate new ways of thinking and being, seeing things from a better perspective. And if you learn nothing more than just how to relax, then you can change your future. That unconscious mind becomes more open to those positive suggestions. It's not judging everything that passes through. And with those positive suggestions and that visualization can help you to align with your true potential. You know, whether you're dealing with stress or self-doubt or a sense of being stuck, the tools and techniques that I offer give you a way to break free from all of those mental patterns that are holding you back. You see, the real you is always here. And that's what I've come to realize, is that the real me has always been here, just beneath the surface of my thoughts. It's the part of me that's calm, the part of me that's grounded, the part of me that can observe all of this mental noise that's going on without being consumed by it. And it applies to you. The real you is not that stream of thoughts that's constantly running through your head, that chatter that won't quieten down. But it's the awareness that you can step back, that you can observe those thoughts without being swept away by them. And when you learn how to observe your thoughts rather than identifying with them, that you begin to unlock your true potential. You stop being run by those automatic reactions, and you start paying attention consciously and choosing how you respond to the world. And the more you practice and use these tools and techniques, the more you realize that you are the observer of your thoughts. You're not the thinker. You're not the stories that you tell yourself. You are the awareness that you can choose a new story. And so I hope this video has helped you. And if you want to explore more on this journey of self-discovery and transformation and begin to shift your awareness, start by just noticing your thoughts instead of letting them control you. And with practice, using mindfulness, self-hypnosis, guided hypnosis here in my office or over video calls, you can begin to unlock a deeper understanding of yourself. You can break free from those limiting beliefs that have been holding you back. And you can step into your true potential. You have the power to rewrite your story, starting with the simple act of just observing those thoughts that no longer serve you. Remember, the real you is always here. And when you shift from being run by your thoughts to observing them, you will unlock limitless potential and power. Power that's always been with you.